Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole King Dio, Lord Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. And look at this absolute bullshit from ReviewTechUSA. This isn't me being like, oh man, the Steam Deck is overhyped, guys. This is going above and beyond saying the Steam Deck is going to kill the Switch. The most important product since the iPhone. I want you to think about that for a minute. According to ReviewTechUSA, Rich of ReviewTechUSA, Valve has produced a piece of technology so innovative that it is going to take the world by storm. In 10 years, everyone's going to have a Steam Deck. Everyone's going to be playing PC games on the go using their Valve Steam Deck. Nintendo's going to go out of business. PlayStation's going to go out of business. Fuck, even like regular gaming PCs are going to go out of business. The Steam Deck is going to replace the iPhone. It is the next big thing. This is, of course, completely ridiculous. This is just Rich going to extreme measures to try and capitalize on the Steam Deck hype, because really when you get right down to it, like, the Steam Deck isn't all that successful, it's not all that popular. There's really nothing going for it, but there are a lot of fanboys out there who are eating up everything that YouTubers are saying about the Steam Deck, to the point where most people don't even understand that the Steam Deck has very severe problems, and I think Rich will downplay those problems in this video, but let's go check it out.
This may be the most important tech device since the iPhone.
What?
I'm not kidding. Let's get into it.
Skip it a
Sure
button.
you're not, bro. Sure you're not, bro.
Okay, so I got my hands on a Steam Deck and I have been using it quite a bit, and I will say it is a flawed product, but like the original iPhone, it's a revolutionary product. It's not the first to do what it's doing.
How exactly is it revolutionary? Right off the bat, like, he's downplaying the actual problems with the piece of hardware. Like, oh man, it has its problems, but it's gonna go on to be just as big of a deal as the iPhone. No, it's not.
Kind of like the iPhone wasn't the first to do what it did, but it's the first to really at least begin to do it right, and now has set a standard for the rest of the industry. I'm not saying it's going to sell billions upon billions of Steam Decks like the iPhone did, but this is going to change the direction of the PC gaming industry in good ways too. Okay, so let's do a quick overview of the specs of the Steam Deck, which is a portable gaming PC that uses Valve's SteamOS. It has 4-core 8-thread Zen 2 processor made by AMD, and this has RDNA 2 graphics. This has the latest and greatest from AMD in terms of what
He's just trying to shill you on a product. Like, he doesn't have a point. This isn't about the iPhone. This isn't about, like, oh man, Steam Deck is innovative. Like, he's trying to sell you on the Steam Deck. I wonder if, like, Valve outright sponsored this video, because it doesn't really make any sense that he would do this.
it's using for integrated graphics. It's no longer Vega, thank God. Vega was getting long in the tooth. The RDNA 2 integrated graphics, there's 8 compute units running anywhere from 1 to 1.6 gigahertz, which equals out to about 1.6 teraflops of compute performance. So
Oh
you
man,
have
all those titty
a
flops.
little portable.
Oh man, the Switch
not
is running
little, but
scared.
A Switch-like gaming PC that's actually more powerful than the 8th gen consoles, which is pretty impressive. At least the base 8th gen consoles, I should say. Now, in terms of pricing
It's not even
and storage,
more powerful than the PS4 Pro. Huh? This motherfucking thing, it's not even more powerful than the PS4 Pro. Is that what he just low-key just admitted there? I haven't kept up with this. I don't know exactly how powerful the Steam Deck is. I don't care, right? Because it doesn't matter, because, like, you can only get Valve Steam games on it, and there's nothing on Steam that's good. Like, I have Steam right now on my high-end gaming PC, which I'm sure is more powerful than any Steam Deck. Again, I haven't checked the specs of the Steam Deck, but I've been on Steam lately. I've bought games on Steam, and I've refunded almost everything I've purchased lately, because all of it is complete trash. Like all of it is garbage. And to think that like the Steam Deck is getting hype because like, oh man, it's a gaming PC you can take anywhere, bro. I have a laptop like for that. So it's like what even is the market for this? It doesn't make any sense. Like there are no games, there is no functionality. It's not even a unique gimmick because the Switch does the gimmick better, right? The Joy-Con is has the motion control technology, which Steam Deck fans like to downplay, right? You'll never be able to play stuff like Ring Fit Adventure or Nintendo Switch Sports or ARMS or any number of great Skyward Sword HD, like any number of great Super Mario Galaxy, like any number of great Nintendo Switch games. I I don't know who they're trying to fool with this nonsense, and it's been going on for months now, and the Steam Deck has bombed at this point, and Rich is just now releasing this video. Just,
This comes in 3 different flavors for $399, the base model. You could get it with 64 gigabytes of eMMC built-in storage, which means you're absolutely positively 100% going to have to get a micro SD card. Now there's also a 256 gigabyte model,
yeah, I think
which
there are plenty
does
of
have an
games that are worth more.
NVMe
I think
SSD.
Tekken 7 alone is about that much. So you'll buy your brand new out of the box $400 Steam Deck, download Tekken 7, and you're gonna have all these problems getting enough storage for it. Holy crap!
So it's not slow storage, and you could fit like a game and a half on there. That goes for 529 US dollars. And then they have the top of the line model, which has 512 gigabytes of storage. That's what this has here. That goes for 650 bucks. All 3 of Valve's consoles, minus storage, have the same specs. This does have an etched screen as well, so it won't be as reflective.
$650 dues if you want a Steam Deck that is actually going to be able to run to be able to store all the games you're going to download onto it. Like what the fuck?
I wouldn't make that a selling point. But here is the thing that Valve has said. They have great on deck games. What that means is they are optimizing games. They literally just optimized Elden Ring to run properly on the Steam Deck, which it does.
So they only just now optimized Elden Ring. Like, when did the Steam Deck come out? Like the 25th, and Elden Ring has been out like about as long. They came out around the same time, I believe. So like, only now is Elden Ring running properly on this thing. What the fuck? Not only is Elden Ring not good to begin with, you had to wait 3 months for it to be able to run properly on Steam. Assuming this is true, by the way, I'm sure he's bullshitting. I'm sure there's lots of problems. I've heard that the PC version of Elden Ring isn't great, but
They've also optimized them to run off a micro SD card. In here, I also have a 1 terabyte, which the slot here is on the bottom. I have a 1 terabyte micro SD card. My opinion on running AAA games off a micro SD card is that it works slowly. Now, it is somewhat tolerable, but I have noticed I purposely loaded virtually all of my games on the micro SD card to test it. This is just
wait. He's blaming the lag and slowdown on the micro SD card and not the console itself. How exactly do you test that? That that doesn't make any sense to me. It's like he's damage controlling the poor performance of the Valve Steam Deck when it comes to this triple A game, Elden Ring from Software. Like, huh?
a preliminary video, so I haven't run any numbers, but you feel it, especially when you first initially install the game and you're getting it set up to play right after you download it. Whoa, it takes a lot longer. I don't know exact numbers, but I do know that if you it takes a lot longer than if you just installed it on a solid state drive. Even if it was a SATA SSD, it would run a hell of a lot quicker. So if you're getting the base model with only 64 gigabytes of storage, just buyer beware. The SD card works. That means Valve has certified the games that they say work great on deck to run off the SD card. But just know that the loading times are not going to be ideal.
Why hasn't this blown up into a controversy? I remember when Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out, and there was that weird narrative on NeoGAF that like the load times were super long, that you would have to wait like 2 minutes to load a level or something, and that was unacceptable, and that it killed the entire game. That wasn't true, obviously, but like if what Rich is saying here is true, is that like if you load games to an SD card, that somehow makes them run worse. Like, what isn't that a big blow against the Steam Deck? Like, you have to pay for the more expensive model. You have to avoid the SD cards. You have to do this or that. Like, it just seems kind of odd to me that he would throw that in there into this video, clearly, blatantly shilling for this product.
To kind of put it nicely. All right, so we'll take a look around the Steam Deck before we get into other things here. Analog sticks are absolutely fantastic. They feel great. I haven't dealt with any kind of drift, and they're honestly some of the smoothest next to the Ioneo Next, which I have a retail unit of that right here. My next video is going to be a comparison between this and the Steam
How
Deck.
many fucking
But
Switch knockoff consoles does he own?
my favorite analog
Holy
sticks
crap.
because they're the smoothest, but these are a super close second. Really nice. They have good throw.
Yeah, what is Switch? Like, last place? That's the implication I get from this. Like, specifically naming the drift, which isn't really a problem. It's easily corrected. And then, like, oh man, like, look at these cheap Switch knockoff titles. Oh, they're so smooth. Oh man, they're so much better. What a tool.
They have a good solid click when you push down, like if you're running in a first person shooter. I like that a lot. And one other thing that I will say that has been cool. Now, if you look under here, you will see that there are two almost like trackpads that you would see on a laptop. Now, I actually used the Steam controller. Remember back when they were making the Steam machines? Remember those that raging success for Valve?
Yeah, the Steam machines. This is the Steam Deck, the Steam Machine 2, the Switch, the Steam Machine Switch, I guess we could call it. Holy
Except
crap.
it was a complete failure. There was also the Steam controller that they discontinued, that they tried the same thing. Now, Valve realized that if you're going to have a controller or a game console, you got to have the trackpads and you have to have the analog sticks.
You don't have to have
It's something that people are accustomed to. But I will say, I was playing games like Doom Eternal and using this analog pad or using this trackpad to actually aim instead of using the analog stick, and sometimes I actually prefer it. On top of it, too, the trackpads on the Steam Deck actually have haptic feedback under them. They almost feel like...
Look at the gameplay. It looks like it's stuttering. Like, it looks like it has, like, FPS problems. Like, Doom Eternal doesn't run great anyway, but...
Touch ID on the iPhone, where you actually, even though there's no physical button there, you feel some kind of feedback, and it feels really good. I kind of thought these were going to be gimmicks, these trackpads, but there are some games I see myself using them with in the future, and I'm glad they're there. Not that I'm going to use them a ton, but they're not a gimmick, which I'm pleasantly surprised by, because I expected them to be. Now, on top here, you also have your volume buttons. You also have a headphone jack here, too. It will work with Bluetooth headphones if you want to use that instead. You have your fan vent. You also have USB-C to charge it. There's going to be a dock for the Steam Deck, so you could use it on monitors and televisions. It also works with other docks, too. Doesn't have to be from Valve. And there is your
you can still use third-party docks until you get the official one. This console is a disaster. Like, it has features that aren't. It has like accessories that aren't available yet. It has like who's buying these things really?
Button, and like I showed before, there is the micro SD card, so you could play your AAA games and have them load nice and slow. On the front here too, as you'll see, you have your. It gives you your menus for SteamOS, and I will say one of the cool things about this too is that SteamOS is really nicely integrated, and it consoleized Valve's PC gaming digital distribution service perfectly. If you want to go to different quick settings, you could actually go to, battery saving features like putting on fidelity effects or variable rate shading. You could cap the frame rate right there.
Rich.
All of these
that's really interesting, but we're in the video game.
Just have quick access to.
And
that was well thought out as well. Now, I will say it's not perfect.
Tell me how easy it is to run emulators on this
where
thing.
I hit a button.
That's all anyone seems to care about.
And it doesn't respond, and updates have made that a lot better. So I don't want to make it like it's a flawless experience, but they really thought everything out a lot more than I thought Valve was going to, and I'm very impressed by that. Now, one thing I am not impressed by...
Wait a minute. Was that even him? You can see the reflection there. It doesn't look like him.
It's a flawless experience, but
Yeah,
they
you can't.
really thought
He doesn't have the
everything out a
beard.
lot more than
It's
I
like some
thought Valve was going
douchebag
to.
with a shitty mustache.
And I'm
Did he
very
steal
impressed
someone's
by
footage for
that.
this?
Now, one thing I am not
Yeah, you can't see the beard. That's not fucking him. Yeah, it's not him. What
does
the
this.
fuck,
I
Rich? You stole someone else's footage?
have beef with
Ah.
that. Admittedly, most games, virtually all games, won't have a
Hey,
problem
super
running
hot
at
as
a
shit.
1280 by
Oh, no, it's not super
800
hot, is it?
screen. Worst comes to
No.
worst, like Elden Ring, it just renders at 1280 by 720, and you have a little bit of black bars on the top and bottom that you barely even notice. But the problem with
Wait! Black bars? I thought this was supposed to be a flawless handheld PC gaming experience. Black bars are the absolute worst. I hate that shit.
1280 by 800 is that some games just don't like the resolution. You may get half the screen that only has an image, or you have to put it in borderless window mode, which doesn't give you options to the proper scaling sometimes if you want to like cut down the native resolution to get some better performance and things like that, which with the Steam Deck you really won't have to do. But there's just some games that don't like 1280 by 800. Virtually all games don't have a problem, but it's enough of an issue that I had to mention it. On top of it, too,
virtually
like,
all of them, but it's still an issue. Like, come on, Rich. That's not what virtually means. Like when you say virtually, it means that like it's not possible to come across games that wouldn't work on Steam Deck unless you were like deliberately seeking them out, right? But it seems like
the rest of the 1280 by
it can't be
800
that
panels
obscure if
I've
you're bringing
seen.
it up.
They're
Right?
probably
You
picking
noticed
them all
it.
from the same parts bin. It's not a very vibrant, pretty picture. You know, in a world of most phones, even mid-range phones, having OLED screens, this is just not great. It does the
No.
job. It's serviceable.
It doesn't
but
even have an OLED screen. The Switch OLED dabs on the Steam Deck. Oh man, it's
the
shitting all over
colors
it.
are kind of muted, and it's a fairly mediocre screen. I know it's not high res. It doesn't need to be. But I would just like a more vibrant
no, it doesn't
picture
need
phone,
to be high
especially in
res.
a world where we could get a Nintendo Switch, which is not as powerful as this, obviously. But
There's no other argument other than like, oh man, it's the Switch isn't as powerful. Nobody cares, okay? Nobody cares how powerful a piece of hardware is. All they care about is the fucking games. And the Steam Deck, the PS5, the Xbox One Series X, the gaming PCs, all across all systems, across all storefronts, they have no games. Mobile, they have no games. Like they can't compete with what Nintendo is doing. Like I would rather not play games at all than play other platforms at this point.
the screen on the Switch OLED is gorgeous, and when you go to something like this, it's kind of hard to go back to a screen as meh as this one. Now, one of the things that Valve does here that's really interesting is that they give you a bunch of features to not only increase the performance of games, because again, it's a powerful APU or system on a chip. It's a custom setup that I just told you the specs of that Valve work with AMD on, but it's still, integrated mobile graphics, so it's going to have its limitations. But what Valve has done is not only given you ways to increase battery life, they've given you ways to make the game run better, and on a small-ish screen like this, you're not even really gonna notice, and you get so much more performance. First off, for example, if you want the game to run at a solid frame rate, say it's getting around 34 frames a second, you're seeing some screen tearing, or
these are the same people who bitch about like Nintendo Switch games like not running like 60 FPS. What a joke.
You just don't like the frame pacing, you could cap it at 30 FPS, and on top of that, if you do that, you get more battery life. They also give you other things to save that battery life, like variable rate shading,
Just
and they have
the
fidelity
if you don't want
effects, which
the frame rate
reconstructs
drop.
lower resolutions to run at higher resolutions baked into SteamOS. So even games that don't support fidelity effects, you could turn it on in SteamOS, and fidelity effects is running and it's good to go. And what it does, like say for example, I run Elden Ring, I could even run it at ultra settings and stay around 30 FPS, but I'll have the game render natively at 960 by 540, and fidelity effects reconstructs the image to run at 1280 by 720, and you don't notice it on this screen. So I'm running Elden Ring on here at 30 FPS at ultra settings, Elden Ring on the go at ultra settings, running at 30 FPS, and having features like fidelity effects allow that to happen. I think that was brilliant that Valve baked that in at a system level. You could also control the TDP to cut back and save on battery life, and there's other feature, manual GPU control.
What exactly? Again, I think this is like the critical aspect of the video that I think Rich wants you to forget about. What does this have to do with the Valve Steam Deck being the most important product since the iPhone, arguably the most mainstream piece of technology in existence, right? Like what the fuck? What the fuck, Rich?
But it still has to be said realistically, with a AAA game like Elden Ring with all of the battery saving features on, 2.5 to 3 hours if you're super lucky.
What?
You have to
With all the battery saving features, 2.5, 3 hours? Really?
remember this: you're still
not gonna get any
playing
mileage
huge,
out of that.
demanding AAA games, even at lower resolutions that are really pushing the hardware and the SoC on here. Okay, it has 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5. You still got a beefy processor in here. You're still running huge games with open worlds that are constantly streaming assets. Until we find a way to make more power efficient SoCs, which we're getting there, that's why this device exists at all. But until they get even more efficient, battery life is going to be an issue. So if you're thinking of playing a huge session on here, have a power delivery battery pack, or make sure to have the charger handy. Now, I think the only other gripe I have with the Steam Deck, I actually like the way the D-pad is configured. I thought the way they had the D-pad and the buttons would be awkward. I've played games like Shovel Knight on here and other
I haven't
2D
seen
games,
bot on
and
this thing.
I had no issue with it. I'm just not a fan of the paddles. A lot of people like these, and they say they didn't get in the way of their experience, like they didn't hit them by accident. I have hit them a couple times by accident, not to a deal-breaking degree, but I don't know. I never use paddles, even on my Xbox Series or Xbox Elite controller, excuse me. I could live without them, and I just think they're more of a nuisance, but whatever. Generally, they don't get in my way. So that is just my first impressions of the Steam Deck. I'm actually...
It's just a fucking first impressions video. Like, it's just a clickbait piece of shit that he released to try and get like people to click on it and respond. I guess like is anyone calling him out on this? I've had more of a month now and I'm just blown away. Played Jedi Fallen Order as my test game for the system. I did a 100% run effortlessly on deck. Are you admitting that Jedi Fallen Order is an easy piece of shit and that it's really not worth playing? Because that's what I'm gonna take away from this Slade avatar here. I have to agree it is really a great product. Valve gave me a lot of money to say so. All it needs is some tweaking and some realistic expectations with the marketing software, compatibility, and you have truly the ultimate handheld gaming machine. Switch is better. Fucker. I really love the back pedals personally. Let's see. His audience probably eats this kind of shit all the time. They're these are the people who make him kiss like chickens on stream. So they are a complete joke. Rich's audience are just delusional Valve PC fanboys. Holy crap! What a pathetic video. Holy crap! Rich really, really needs to get a real job.